Welcome back, everybody. Barrett, Awai recently experienced the unthinkable. His 10-year-old son suffering a heart attack and nearly dying. But his son has made a miraculous comeback, and now Dad is trying to pay it forward.
This segment of Sports People Hawaii is brought to you by 7-Eleven Hawaii, your neighborhood store.
It may not seem like such a big deal, but to watch 10-year-old Poukihi Awai enjoy a simple game of catch with his dad is nothing short of a miracle. Little more than a month ago, he was in the hospital, fighting for his life. On January 12th, Awai was running drills at his big brother Caleb's baseball practice. His father, Barrett, also their coach, says it was like any other day.
The younger one is just going to get tagged along. That's just how it is. He's going to get the workout.
But then, in the blink of an eye, everything changed.
All I heard was Caleb yell out, "Dad, Dad." And I looked up, and he's just waving me to come.
Initially, everybody thought Poukihi was only tired, but it was much more.
Turned out to be a cardiac arrest that nobody could have detected, which is just, I don't know what, crazy, just totally crazy.
Making matters worse, Barrett was on the opposite end of the field when Caleb started yelling for him. He had no idea it was his own son that had collapsed.
Yeah, just a moment that you can't really, it's hard to really explain what's happening, what's going on in your head, because it's almost like, I explain it this way, it's like that 20 minutes seemed like 1 second. It just, you get lost in the time because of what's happening.
From there, the situation only got worse. Poukihi was moved from the emergency room to the pediatric intensive care unit. There, he was put in a medically induced coma, and the prognosis grave, with doctors giving him only a 5% chance of pulling through.
You're like, come on, you're not telling me that my son is dying, that he's fighting for his life, because it just doesn't seem real. Even though you're in the ER, even though going in the ambulance, and you don't know what's happening, you're asking questions, they can't give you the answer because they don't know.
But on the fourth day, Poukihi woke up and he began moving all of his limbs. Then he recognized the person who had been there at his side the entire time, his dad.
Just constant prayer, constant faith, and trusting that God would do everything he needed to do to bring him back here so we can throw a ball.
Prayer has always been a part of Barrett's life. He volunteers with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and stresses team building and faith over all else.
But it did come together because now it's like I won't say the spotlight, but the spotlight was like, now what?
Turns out the answer to his own question came quickly. Barrett decided he wanted to give back to his community by raising awareness about the very importance of teaching and learning how to perform CPR.
And I think in that moment, it was a moment for me to truly stand in the only thing that really I could stand in at that moment, because I didn't know CPR. I just thought he fainted. I didn't think he was cardiac arrest until the two angels showed up and realized he didn't have a heart rate, you know what I mean?
And in that same moment, Barrett also found his second calling to do whatever possible to get life-saving automated external defibrillators, or AEDs, into every park, school, and playing field island-wide, and to teach every coach, teacher, and parents the life-saving skills.
Let's start teaching our kids, because that's what they're doing. They're teaching the kids in school as part of their PE programs or health programs, that you're going to learn to do CPR and be those first responders. The importance is knowing CPR first, actually, because you're going to need to do that sometimes before the AED gets there.
And Barrett has already made good on his promise, organizing and taking part in his first free CPR training class. A chance not only for him to learn the life-saving skill, but even for Poukihi.
We're the first responders. I mean, we're going to call 911, and whether fire or whoever gets there first, they're actually second compared to the ones who are there.
For Poukihi, who now has a pacemaker to ensure a strong and steady heartbeat, there's no recollection of the day he collapsed. He just wants to do what every other kid his age wants to do: play ball.
What's it like to be able to come out now and play catch with Dad again?
Exciting.
And then, little more than a month after doctors questioned whether he would even survive, there was Poukihi on center stage, throwing out the first pitch before a University of Hawaii baseball game.
It was very fun and exciting to do.
And after you threw it, the whole team was there. What was that like?
Well, when my dad said he never saw any teams like went out for the first pitch, just me.
When he threw it, and I didn't know this, but the players are telling me that they don't normally go out to the third base line, so they all came out, and it only has to do with because I'm the team chaplain for the last 7 years, so I do pregame chapels, and so I know quite a few of the players, and obviously Coach Trapp. So it was such an honor, it was such a blessing to see that God would bless our child.
And now Barrett is looking to pay it forward, working with the city and the private sector to do whatever he can to ensure more of these life-saving tools are put in place.
AD is going to beat for some money and give him that second chance of life, and it did for my son. The CPR was first, and that was huge, but after that it was the AED that really was keeping him alive, and so I'm very grateful, and I see a need that every community needs one, especially in the youth leagues, because they're so active and so many people are involved, and that's why.
Barrett is such a great individual. He and his son went through such a difficult time, but they held on, and now they have the life that they know and cherish. And through all this, Barrett felt that he didn't want anybody else to experience what he had to with his son. So he made it his mission to help communities learn CPR and put as many life-saving automated external defibrillators into parks, schools, and playing fields across the state. Barrett is really a role model that we can all follow.
For Barrett, it's as easy as calling balls and strikes. He wants to see other children and more families have the same chance to experience the same simple joy of playing catch.
Like when I come out here and I'm throwing, it's like just being like it never happened. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like nothing's happened. But when you're in the actual moment, like when a ball's being thrown and I'm catching it, it's just like, wow, you know, I just reflect on how important even in that moment, like how important that time is for me as a dad and for him as a son to just play catch.
And while Barrett spends endless hours reflecting on the past, Poukihi, well, he has his sights set firmly in the future.
What are your plans as a baseball player?
Haven't hit a home run yet, so I'll try this year.
And Barrett will continue to see that more people learn the life-saving skills of CPR. Probably good for all of us to learn that. And stick around. When we come back, you're going to go underwater. But perhaps the #1 ranked spear fisherman in the state.